For the very first DIY, you'll need a plastic serving tray, some jute nautical rope, some scissors, a hot glue gun. So to begin, I go ahead and put a dab of the hot glue in the center of the tray. Then you want to begin to spiral around the nautical rope and just add little dabs of hot glue ever so often. I continue this process all the way around, and on the perimeter I wanted to make sure I covered those plastic edges, so I cut some nautical rope to ensure that I could cover that piece as well. And this is how it turned out. Now I wanted to go ahead and add some handles onto this, so I cut a few inches of the nautical rope and hot glued it to the back, held it there for a while, and this is how it looks. For DIY number 2, you'll need 8 round plates, some more nautical rope. So the rope on the left is different from the rope on the right that I used in the last one. It's a bit smaller. Some twine, some scissors, hot glue gun, and some paint. I'm using Waverly chalk paint, and I found these at Walmart. Lastly, this is optional, but I found this also at the Dollar Tree, and it's cute stencils that I use for some of my baskets. To get the design for the half and half, you'll need some tape. Like I said previously, this nautical rope is a bit smaller, so I'm going to go in with this first. I do an assortment because of the nautical rope that I had on hand, and I also do one with twine. This process is going to be the same as DIY number 1. You'll start with a dab of hot glue in the center and then continue to spiral the rope around and put hot glue every so often. And this is how it turns out. Now I'm going an extra step with these smaller ones because I want them to be wall decor. So for the first one, I'll go ahead and put a piece of tape on half of the basket and then just dab white chalk paint on the other side. You want to make sure that tape is there so you get that nice clean line. But I'm going to go ahead and put brown chalk paint on the other side of this white just to give it more of a bold look. And this is an example of one that I used the stencils for. I really had fun with these. This is one that you can get super creative with and just let your mind wander. This was my favorite DIY out of all of them. Ceramic pots, Waverly paint, and gloves, optional, is all you'll need for this next DIY. So this one is just giving a little bit more character to the ceramic pots. Out of the 3 of them, I went ahead and did this to 2 of them. You simply dab some white chalk paint onto it and then kind of smear it back off to give it a bit of a distressed look. For DIY number 4, you'll need some plastic bowls, a candle of your choice, I got this from Walmart, a hot glue gun, and that's it. spray paint your bowls the color of your choice. I wanted these to look like terracotta, so I found a spray paint in the color of satin brick. With your hot glue gun, you'll hot glue the edge of the bottom of the bowl, and you want to do this quickly because it will dry on you quickly. So put that other bowl on top and press it down for a few minutes. After you do this, you also want to let it sit, and this will be the perfect time to do step 2 of this DIY. In order to get your candle into liquid form, in order to transfer it into that bowl, you want to put it on a saucepan and put some water into that saucepan and have it at a boil. After it melts completely, go ahead and take out your wicks, and you're going to hot glue the wick in the middle of your bowl before pouring in the wax. It was super cool and super neat to see how easy it was to make a custom candle for my nightstand. For my 5th DIY, I used some ceramic bowls from the Dollar Tree and pretty much did the same process that I did for the candle. This time, you'll just need a plant. So I'm using this as a potter, and I'm going to put this plant that I got from IKEA into this pot that I've created, and I'm going to put it on my bedroom dresser. Up next, you'll need some vases or glasses, some twine, and your old reliable hot glue gun. For this DIY, you're going to start at the bottom of that vase or glass and go ahead and do one circle and put a dab of hot glue there to keep it together. Then you're going to continue wrapping the twine around and dabbing hot glue as you go further and further up the cup. I found that it's easier to do this while the cup is upside down. And after you've done that base amount of twine, whatever looks good for you, you're going to flip the cup over and kind of spread the twine out. So it's going to be very compact at the bottom, and then as you go higher and higher, it's going to get a lot more spread out. And you just want to dab a little bit of the hot glue wherever you want the twine to fall on your glass. For this DIY, you'll need craft sticks, 2 canvases, a hot glue gun, a poster board, box cutter, and some chalk paint. To begin, you want to figure out what design you want to make just by doing a bit of a rough sketch on the table. I figured out that I wanted to go ahead and do a design with 3 different colors, so I pulled out the amount of popsicle sticks necessary and painted them baby blue. Now to make these 2 canvases one big frame, remove the canvas part and only use the wooden pieces. You want to get some pliers or some tools in order to take out the staples at the bottoms of the wooden pieces. I went ahead and painted them with some Waverly paint. You can stain them and you can leave them as is. So what I did was clip the rounded ends of one side of the craft sticks and then glued them in my design onto the poster board. In order to get the poster board the exact size that I needed, I glued together the ends of the frames and traced it out. I didn't paint the brown craft sticks ahead of time because I didn't know if I wanted to keep it the wooden color it was or change up the color, but I went ahead and utilized some stain that I had in my closet, and I think it was a really nice contrast to the brown that's on the outside of the frame that I painted with the chalk paint. After I got it in the design that I like, I got the box cutter and put it on top of a cutting board just to get those edges really nice and neat and prepared for the frame to lay on top. Put some hot glue around all of the edges of the frame and lay it right on top of your design. Lastly, clean up any edges with your box cutter. For this DIY, I used some white spray paint, some green yarn, some wooden beads that I spray painted gold, and then this 3D wreath that I found at the Dollar Tree. I just pulled one off, and then you want to go ahead and use some pliers to take off the little piece there. To start this DIY, you're going to create 3 different sections. So you'll need 3 different pieces of yarn that are the same measurement and length. And these 3 sections are going to be knotted at the top, and then you're going to create knots at the bottom. At the bottom, you just want to separate the strands and create knots. You'll be able to move these back and forth to get the spacing that you want in the end. And these will be your sections where you'll put your tassels in later. And you'll just do this 2 more times to create 5 different sections. So to do the bottom part of the design, you want to measure from where the knots are on the bottom of your ring down to see how long you want it to be. And then you'll grab 5 strands of evenly cut yarn, fold it together, and then do that same knot that you did at the top, but on the bottom portion of the ring. And this will allow for your kind of tassel-like design to hang down. So again, you want to take 5 strands of yarn, fold it in half, create a knot, and pull it down tight. And remember, you can move and adjust these if you don't necessarily like where it is, or if you want to add a couple more tasseled knots to the bottom. To make sliding the beads on a bit easier, grab a piece of tape and put it at the bottom of the yarn. Then go ahead and cut it in the shape and angle that you desire. You can do this rounded, straight across. I tried to get mine in a more V cut. For this DIY, you'll only need a few items, which is that nautical rope that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's the more white and fluffy one. And then a piece of wood. I actually got this piece of wood from a painting set that I bought, and I didn't need it. So for this, you're going to take the nautical rope apart. So you're just going to take the 3 strands and pull them apart. And so I'm doing a large feather, but you can do this in multiple sizes or any size you want. So that middle piece, you want to just do it the length of the feather that you want it to be. What you're going to do is take a strand of that rope, and then you're going to have two identical pieces that are the same length. To make it easier on myself, I kind of just pre-cut a bunch of little pieces so I could just grab them and intertwine them together. So with the two pieces of rope, you'll take one piece, say it's the right piece. You'll take the right piece and put it underneath the long piece of rope in the middle. And then you'll take the left piece and put it through the loop that the right piece has created. And then before you do anything, grab the two ends of the rope on the right piece and put them through the loop on the left piece. And then from there you'll make a knot by pulling both ends of the rope, and then you'll just push it up a bit. I hope this explanation is easy because this technique is super easy and it's probably just better if you watch it. But hopefully I explained that okay. Because I wanted my feather to be pretty long, I had to do a whole lot of strips, as you can see on the side. But I have seen this DIY where it's a variance of feathers, so it'll be a little short one and then a little bit longer one and a medium one. So if you want to do that, you won't need nearly as many little strips, and then they don't have to be as long either. After you've done that, you just want to grab a pick or a steel bristle brush or something of the sort, and then you just want to pick out the rope, and this will give it that really nice look. And from there, go ahead and shape your feather how you would like. I just wanted to shape it some more afterward because after holding it up in the air, you'll realize that it's going to hang, so it'll look a bit different than it will flat on the table. These last couple DIYs were super simple because all I used was spray paint. Spray paint can transform spaces, but in this case they just transformed little things that help transform spaces. It's funny too because this item right here I believe is my favorite of them all. This was just a little jigsaw toy that I saw in the toy aisle at the Dollar Tree. These little twill balls that I saw at the Dollar Tree, I decided to only spray paint half of them and then leave the other half the natural wooden color and to just do a blend. So this is me using them in two different areas.